One Deathworld species ruled the stars. Until humans arrived, best HFY stories. For over 12 millennia, the stars belonged to the Xal'Voran. The galaxy remembered their rise like a dark myth whispered across systems. A species birthed from the molten hellscape of Verzal, a world so hostile that even silicon-based life forms struggled to thrive. A planet of constant volcanic eruptions, atmospheric storms that could strip skin from bone, and an ecosystem where apex predators had rows of teeth behind their eyes for insurance. And yet, from that place, the Xal'Voran emerged. Chitin-armored, hive-minded in warfare, yet fiercely independent in thought, they clawed their way to dominance not just of their planet, but of space itself. Other species tried, some with diplomacy, some with fleets, some with technology centuries ahead of the norm. It didn't matter. The Xal'Voran crushed them all. Their war fleets blackened skies. Their soldiers, towering insectoid nightmares with biometallic armor, walked through plasma fire like it was summer rain. They were not conquerors by ambition. Conquest was just inevitable. They didn't seek war. They were war. Every other species eventually accepted that simple truth. Resistance became symbolic, like tossing stones at an oncoming meteor. For 12,000 years, the Galactic Order was fixed, kneel, or be eradicated, until the Terrans arrived. It started quietly. No grand announcements, no gleaming armadas appearing on the borders of the Xal'Voran territories. Just stories. A mining outpost on the edge of the Perseus Expanse found its security teams missing. A pirate fleet operating near the Wraith Nebula sent a distress call. Jagged fragments of their ships were later found drifting in a debris field. On the edge of the galactic core, a Xal'Voran exploratory vessel detected an unknown structure orbiting a dead world. And then, nothing. The Xal'Voran High Brood barely noticed. Rogue factions, lost expeditions, or faulty tech. Space was vast and full of noise. But the stories kept coming. And then, they reached Proxima Thal, a resource-rich colony world under Xal'Voran dominion for over 5 millennia. The colony's distress beacon activated for 47 seconds. No words, just static then silence. When the relief fleet arrived, they found Proxima Thal empty. Not destroyed, not in ruins. Empty. Cities stood untouched, infrastructure pristine, but every Xal'Voran, soldier, worker, civilian gone. The High Brood convened. This time, they took notice. Something capable of eliminating a population of 9 billion without a shot fired? That wasn't piracy or rogue elements. That was a threat. Recon probes deployed. They tracked faint signals, encrypted transmissions in a language unknown to the galactic databases. It was human. The Xal'Voran had heard of Earth, a forgotten death world near the Orion Spur, unremarkable, isolated, ignored for eons. The occasional Terran freighter showed up on backwater markets, trading exotic materials or odd technologies, but they were considered insignificant. A mistake. The Xal'Voran sent fleets. Not scouts, but full planetary assault groups, carriers, dreadnoughts, annihilation cruisers. They reached the Sol system and found nothing. Earth was gone. Not destroyed. Not hidden. Gone. The planet's coordinates aligned, but where Earth should have been, a void. Like the planet had never existed. For the first time in 12,000 years, the High Brood hesitated. And then came the message. It wasn't broadcast across the networks. It arrived directly, encrypted, personal, to the brood mothers, the war generals, the architects of the Xal'Voran Empire. One line, translated perfectly into their language. You ruled the stars because we let you. No signature, no demand, no declaration, just fact. Within days, Xal'Voran listening posts began to fail. Fleets reported internal sabotage from unknown agents. Artificial intelligences, once the backbone of their warships, turned silent, or worse, refused to obey. Then came the ships. Terran vessels weren't sleek or elegant like galactic standards. They were brutalist hunks of alloy and armor, bristling with weapons that didn't align with known physics. Their hulls bore marks of ancient wars, yet they moved with impossible grace, slipping between real space and hyperspace as if the laws of the universe bent around them. A Xal'Voran destroyer squadron intercepted the first. The Terran ship, a relatively small vessel, barely 300 meters, identified as TNS Resolute. The destroyers opened fire. They died in 2.4 seconds. No energy buildup. No visible weapon discharge. One moment they existed, the next, molecular fragments scattered across the void. The High Brood declared total war. The galaxy watched with bated breath as the mighty Xal'Voran war machine mobilized. Entire systems turned into shipyards overnight. Every hive world, every breeding colony, every soldier summoned to the front. It didn't matter. The Terrans didn't engage in open battle. They infiltrated, corrupted, subverted. Supply lines vanished. Communications collapsed. Xal'Voran soldiers woke to find their weapons fused to their hands or their ships locked in perpetual drift. Where battles did occur, the humans unleashed technologies the galaxy had never dreamed of. Singularity charges that folded ships into pocket black holes. Nanoviruses that turned bioalloy hulls into liquefied slag. But it wasn't just the weapons. It was how the humans fought. No central command. No grand armadas. Independent strike teams appeared behind enemy lines, bypassing entire fleets to strike at critical targets. They understood the Xal'Voran in ways that suggested not observation, but familiarity. The chilling realization spread. The humans had been watching, waiting, learning. The final straw came at Thal, the Xal'Voran capital world. Their fortress planet, a citadel impossible to breach, protected by layered defense grids, a fleet of 10,000 ships, and planetary shields powered by the planet's molten core itself. The Terrans didn't breach it. They made it irrelevant. The son of Thal, a young blue-white star, vanished. One moment it burned bright. The next, it winked out, replaced by a sphere of inky nothingness that devoured light and gravity alike. The Xal'Voran homeworld, along with its mighty defenses, drifted into eternal darkness. Panic rippled through the Empire. Systems collapsed. Brood mothers abandoned their posts. The humans never revealed how. The technology, or power, required to steal a star was beyond comprehension. But they didn't need to explain. The message was clear. We let you rule. Now we don't. The galaxy's power dynamic shattered overnight. The once feared Xal'Voran Empire fractured, splintering into rogue war bands and desperate refugee fleets. Their reputation as the apex Deathworld species crumbled. In the aftermath, the humans emerged fully, not as conquerors, not as replacements, but as quiet custodians of galactic order. Diplomats, human and terrifyingly well-informed, appeared in council halls. Trade agreements were signed, alliances formed, but beneath the handshakes and peaceful exchanges, everyone knew the humans weren't interested in domination. They were interested in keeping balance, because somewhere, hidden beyond the blackest edges of space, were worse things. Things even the Xal'Voran whispered about in forgotten myths. The humans weren't here to conquer. They were here to make sure the galaxy stayed ready, to prepare. And if that meant toppling the oldest empire to remind the galaxy who truly understood survival, so be it. The stars belonged to the humans now, and they had only just begun.